My name's Robert Morris. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for the Great Lakes and the Northeast for TVI Market Pro 3. I'm joined here today with Ian Favre, our digital mastermind. And, historically, TVI Market Pro 3, we engage with customers, with email, direct mail, websites, landing pages, things like that. Ian handles our digital side of the house. And it's really been, in the last couple of years, a real growth opportunity for us because of a new way of reaching those customers beyond their traditional media. Ian, what can you tell us about digital?
I would say fixed operations digital spend is usually the afterthought from most big box agencies. You get large front end budgets, and then you get a little trickle down of, hey, here's a few bucks to take care of the service departments. I think one of the things that's really cool is when you find a fixed ops focused partner that specializes in that and that actually allocates the appropriate budgets, but actually knows, how to build fixed ops specific ads, fixed ops specific campaigns that also don't, kind of cross mingle with anything in the front end that's going to provide, a poor ad experience or step on other people's toes that are advertising on the front end. So, the first part of it is really the fixed ops specific advertising and not being just a trickle down of sales.
What would that look like? What does a fixed ops specific digital advertisement look like?
Traditionally, these campaigns have been very general. So it's a general service ad that covers every single service topic that you might think of or every kind of keyword. What we really try to focus on is getting very granular into the individual ad groups or the individual services that a dealership needs. On our end, when someone's searching for, Toyota transmissions, we're going to provide the consumer an ad specific to Toyota transmissions, land them on, hopefully in partnership with the dealer, at Toyota transmissions page. Most campaigns would provide a general ad that would say something instead of, come get service here, but it doesn't have the same quality and the same click-through rates because it really doesn't have anything to do with what the person was searching.
And we've seen examples where that customer is searching for, Toyota brakes or transmission repair, and all of a sudden the ad that they're served up is for, a Toyota Camry purchase incentive.
Yes, exactly. So you'll get a lot of front-end ads that will cover the service topics just based on how they've set up keyword matching. It can be, Google really pushes a lot of broad strategies, and if you don't really refine your targeting to the specific services that you're trying to draw in, then it's almost a spray and pray with Google, where all of your traffic is like kind of dealership name, brand focused, broad searches.
Right. And historically, in the digital landscape, you would measure, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would measure an effectiveness of a campaign with clicks, impressions. What were some of the other traditional metrics to evaluate?
Sure.
performance?
A lot of engagement metrics like, click-through rate and people's engagement with the individual ads. But the trick for, a lot of dealerships that work with, digital vendors is actually finding out if it's making them any money. So, I, as a digital pro, I could call somebody and tell them I gave them 1 million impressions and 1 million clicks and show them where those went. But did that turn into money at the end of the month? So, one of the things I love about TVI is actually being able to say, hey, we generated a phone call from a specific service campaign from this keyword. Here's that specific person, and then here's the closed RO and the revenue that came from.
Right. So we can complete, the loop. We can show where this customer was sitting in front of their computer in Google, typed their keywords, the dealership's ad came up, they clicked it, and then we ultimately tie that back to a repair order to show a definitive ROI rather than just the generic, clicks and impressions.
And for me, as a digital advertiser, at the end of the month, I've been doing this about 22, 23 years. My whole career, every call with a dealer has ended with a question of, hey, here's your numbers, how is it on your end? Right? My calls are now completely different, where I'm not focused on impressions and clicks. I'm focused on, did the dealership work the opportunities that we provided, and how can their teams like BDC and service advisors get better on all these missed opportunities where they have all the consumer PII to do the follow-up and it just gets missed.
Sure. Let's talk about Meta.
Okay.
So what do we do in terms of engagement with Meta for the dealership with the consumer?
The great thing about our Meta program is that it really doesn't have any waste. So we're pulling all of these audiences out of our dealers DMS. So they're an active customer, an inactive customer, a lost customer. We know who they are, we know what they own, and so we can specifically segment them and put offers that are specific to whatever segment and vehicle that they have. So there's no spray and pray, there's no Honda owner getting a Toyota ad. It's very straightforward. And really, it's such a great supplement to like direct mail and email campaigns, because if you have a mailer that drops on the 15th and say an email campaign on the 20th, in between that entire time, everybody in those audiences has been seeing meta ads, 5 to 15 to 20 times. The reinforcement on your traditional marketing just from adding that layer of branding is fantastic.
Right, and when you say, just to be clear, when you say meta ads, we're talking about serving ads on the consumer's Facebook or Instagram pages.
Yeah. I mean, it's on their news feeds or their reels, or
Sure.
Meta's got 15 million different ways they serve ads, and so as part of digital advertisers set up the content to really fit anything. So it's not any page posting, it's paid social in people's news feeds, in people's Instagram reels.
Right, and we're able to measure engagement with that?
Absolutely, yes. So we're able to not only measure the engagement, how long people engage with the videos, how many people click on them, but all the ads have forms that, similar just like to a paid search phone call, right? You get all of that consumer PII data, and then you can track it all back in our system to, is my team working these opportunities? I paid X amount for Facebook this month, and are my service advisors following up on the 12 people that selected oil change and added their name, email, phone? I mean, it's as qualified as a lead as it can get.
Right, so we're able to provide them the lead information.
Absolutely.
In terms of who interacted, with the ads, and if we can provide them with the lead information, then it stands to reason that we can ultimately provide them with the revenue generated and how well it performed from a dollars and cents standpoint, again, other than just their traditional clicks and
and really the visual of having all of these leads that you have generated and whether or not your team has turned them into ROs yet is super powerful for people to see. Because if you can pick up 3, 4, 5 more every month, you're just helping your bottom line so much by picking up these things that you would have wasted, essentially.
Right.
After hours calls, when we look, you'll see tons of calls at 11, 12 p.m. A lot of times those are the ones that didn't get converted because they just got lost in a phone tree or just never followed up on.
Right. Do you ever hear any stories about the consumer or the public being surprised that we were able to identify, or the dealership was able to identify them, their Facebook and Instagram posts, and all of a sudden they're getting phone calls, and because it can be a little Big Brotherish.
A little bit, but it's a little bit. But I think most people are used to the fact that we can't even have a listening device at home like Google or Amazon
Alexa,
Echo or
yeah.
Alexa, and not be getting served ads the next day for something that we were talking to our wife about.
Yeah,
So,
that happens all the time. That just remember, there's nothing anonymous on the internet.
yeah, fact. So,
Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate your time today.
thank you.
I
Good talking
think
to you,
it
my
was
friend.
Always, brother.